wanted to like touch into real quick here, the thing with Canelo Alvarez, because it seems like a lot of people don't know about the history there with Demetrius Andrade and Canelo Alvarez, where at one point when Demetrius Andrade was a WBO 154-pound champion or super welterweight champion, Canelo Alvarez was ranked #1 in the WBO.
Right, he never exercised his mandatory against Demetrius.
Right.
So why wouldn't you? You know, don't tell me about a horrible fighter. Come on. He's fought guys that he fought all blown up 47s until he fought Trout. Okay? Mm-hmm. And Trout was probably the first 254 he ever fought. If you look at the guys, they're all blown up 47s. And Trout gave him a hard way to go. And Trout couldn't touch Boo.
Man.
So, and I mean, we fought all these guys in the amateurs.
Yeah. Yep.
And you go to any one of those fighters and they just say, just don't mess with Boo. Because you can't. Mm-hmm. The list is very long. If you look at your top 10 fighters, none of them will get by him. That's why he made the Olympic team and they did it.
Yeah. And you know, and I was gonna go more into the whole thing with that Canelo stuff. Like he had the thing where he was, you know, #1 WBO at 154. Didn't go that route. He ended up moving up to 160. You know, got a belt at 160. And then when Demetrius Andrade came up to 160, you know, when you had the whole thing with the WBO middleweight title, which I'll touch on a little bit later, Andrade gets that belt, and then he has, you know, his defenses of that title. And at all this time, you know, Canelo could have went ahead and unified. And at one particular point, after he defeated Daniel Jacobs, all he had to do was face Demetrius Andrade for the undisputed middleweight championship, and he didn't do it.
Well, our defense of him, there was a screw up there, and I think that would have changed the dynamics of everything because there was some kind of agreement, a contract, or a time limit when he had to defend his title, and it didn't go off at the time, so he actually got stripped for one of the belts, and that's why Demenchenko fought for a vacant.
Yeah, the IBF, you know.
Right. So, and he blamed that Oscar for all that shit, and I think that changed the dynamics. That's the only way I can defend Canelo. And at that point, though, he still could have fought. He could not fight for undisputed, but he could have fought us for the third belt and then go after the other belt again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he elected to bounce out after he lost that fight, you know, the opportunity to fight, I think, in negotiation with Demenchenko.
Yeah, I think it was something with their matchmaker. I think it's Eric Gomez or somebody, you know, where they kind of, you know, said that they would have tried to set up that fight with Demenchenko, and then it didn't happen, and then he ended up getting stripped, and I guess he was like, what the fuck, you know? But he's still like, you know.
And that, though, I don't mean to cut you off, though, for a second. And that, he could have turned around and said, no, I'm going to fight Demetrius Andrade for the unification. Then I'll fight for this title here to maintain it. Because unifications trump out mandatories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But something happened there, and I guess Canelo just figured out, well, whatever he's going to do. So actually, as much as I can't stand the guy, I will this right is right and wrong is wrong. So he abandoned the middleweight division, but he didn't have to because he still had his other belts, and he could have just said, well, okay, fine, I'll go fight Andrade. Those two guys do a box off, and they fight for who's going to be the IBF title holder, and then I'll fight that guy. Mm-hmm. So he had that road to go down.
Yeah. You know, we could have had some, you know, Demetrius Andrade face Canelo, defeat Canelo, and he probably would have ended up facing you know, Gennady Golovkin or whatever it was for the undisputed middleweight championship. And you would have had, you know, it would have been undisputed at 160. You know, ever since, you know, Canelo, I guess, held those belts at 160 and then moved up to 168, We haven't had one unification fight yet.
Exactly. I mean, what is everybody waiting for? Canelo's out of the one middleweight division. Okay, so everybody's out of that big money.
Mm-hmm.
So make your own name. Make your own division. You can't go chase somebody. They're chasing money.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. Because, you know what? It's unfortunate. They're paying two guys, okay?
Right.
You know, it's not mentioned the heavyweight division, but in the close divisions, they were paying Canelo and Triple G all the big money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a budget and you pay the top executive, takes all the big money, there's nothing left for the people under them, the vice presidents, you know, and all this stuff below them. There's no money left for them.
Right.
Because you're spending your budget on these guys fighting guys that some are worthy and some wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And we won't go down that list.
Right. Right.
But you have the opportunity to be created the best middleweight division there is, a Super 6, whatever, like they did the Super 6. They could get a middleweight division where everybody had to fight and let the best man win.
Right.
You had Golovkin, you had Triple G, you had Saunders, you had us, you had Charlo. We could have did what the Super 6 did. And just take the best middleweights and put them against each other. And Demetrius would have been part of that. I mean, let's look at the list.
Yeah.
Eddie Jacobs.
Daniel Jacobs, yeah. That could be your 6 right there.
If we did that middleweight Super 6, like they did the Super 6, you would have had Charlo, Eddie Jacobs, Demetrius, Canelo, Triple G, Demetrius.
Yep.
And there's a couple of Billy Joe.
At the time, yeah.
Even if Murata was up in there.
Yeah, that's 8.
You would have the top earners in that time, other than the big, you know, the Wilders and all that, and, you know, what it do with Joshua and all that, you know what I mean, and what's his name. So you would have had the top earners all fighting for the best middleweight division there was. It would have been the best middleweight division. That's it ever.
Yeah. And I mean, you would have had something where, like you said, it said middleweight, one of the most storied divisions in boxing. So why not have something that could add to that legacy of the middleweight division?
Right. And 90% of the guys were undefeated. I mean, Danny Jacobs caught one defeat. Okay. And, you know, he caught, because he was going through a lot of, you know, problems, his grandmother passed and everything else. So, you know what, you know, he wasn't prepared for it. Mm-hmm. You know, Danny Jacobs is a great guy. Even Caleb, man, I love Caleb to death. He used to do our training camps with us and all that. And, you know, the whole thing is they could have created, like they created the Super 6 in that middleweight division and blew everything up.
Mm. Yeah.
And that would have been the thing to do. You had all these undefeated fighters.
Right.
But you had guys that can pick and choose who they fought. Okay, HBO made them, but HBO made Triple G a superstar. They spoon-fed Triple G opponents. Mm-hmm. They spoon-fed Canelo all 147s until he fought Trout. Blown up 47s with a name. They were spoon-fed. And a lot of that shit came from HBO after Mayweather left them. And I don't have to say anything more. Because after that, the only person they had was Danny Jacobs and, oh my God, boy, there, shit, Terrence Crawford. And Terrence Crawford got those slots because of Top Rank.
Yeah.
And Bob Abbott had a lot of pull with HBO.
Yes. Yeah, look, I know.
And after a while, HBO did a deal with people with color. And that's a fact.
Oh, yeah.
What they had was Terrence Crawford and Danny Jacobs.
Yeah, there's
and they
that.
won the contract.
And then you had the whole thing with, you know, when Guillermo Rigondeaux was under Top Rank or, you know, had fights when they were under HBO. And there were like instances where the commentators on HBO were you know, not really saying much good about Guillermo Rigondeaux at that time, you know.
Yeah, I thought Rigondeaux was a great fighter. I loved his style. Here you got a guy that came out of the end just he said, I'll fight straight for a title. I don't care.
Yep. Yep.
You know, I thought the boy could fight.
Word. Yep.
You know, and how it plays out the way it does.
Yeah.